No one got lost. No one out here say hi. Alright. Welcome to Memphis Recording Service! Woo! Yeah. You can use flash photography and film stuff now. Alright. Oh, no, we don't want French. Hold on. I'm fine English. There you go. Alrighty. First room we walked through is Marion Keister's office. Right behind y'all is the front door, 706. Door everybody walked through. This room, we're hanging out in, is where the sweet rock and roll happened. Structurally, everything you see is the same. These are the same acoustic tiles Sam put up, same lamp fixture, same floor tiles everyone else stood on over 60 years ago. And we still use this room for recording. We're an active studio. All the instruments and the gear, you see, we still use for sessions. Now they don't start till much later because we do the tours during the daytime. Sessions start about 6:30 at night. Go anywhere from 2 hours to the break of dawn. It just depends on who's recording and what they're recording. But we still use the control room back here. This is where Sam Phillips used to work. Today when we record though, it's mostly digital, but we are able to record analog. We have an 8-track tape machine standing up in the back. Pretty awesome 1970s Studer console we mixed everything on. Stones mixed a record on that console years ago. And that back door takes you to the magical land of a parking lot. This is it. This is what Sam had for those 10 years. Pretty small space, but you know, a lot of big stuff happened in this room. Makes it pretty cool. So we finish Elvis's story. Does he make it? July 5th, 1954. 19-year-old Elvis gets a phone call about a real recording session. Oh, he's excited because he knew this was a big chance. He runs on down here as fast as he can. He's introduced to Scotty Moore and to Bill Black, so they kind of have a little meet and greet. Come on in this room, set up, and play through some songs. Mostly pop songs and country songs, which, while it was sounding fine, Sam just wasn't too impressed with it. Pop and country had already been done. He's not getting a good take on anything. So around midnight, he tells all of them to take a break. Now, Sam had been hanging out back here most of the night, but he put Elvis here on this X. That famous Elvis X. Elvis Presley picked up his guitar and starts messing with this song called That's All Right. An old blues tune by Arthur Crudup. Scotty Moore's kind of digging it. He's standing over there on that X playing some lead stuff. Bill Black's standing on that X playing a bass line. They're all just kind of goofing around having fun. Well, Sam came busting through this door so fast. He was wondering what that sound was. All that energy, excitement was what he'd been looking for this entire time. They cut That's All Right in a couple takes, and the next day a copy of it was taken to this crazy-looking guy here named Dewey Phillips, who was a DJ in town. He was on WHBQ. Everyone in town listened to Red Hot and Blue, Dewey's radio show, both white kids and black kids. He was the first DJ in Memphis who played blues music on a white radio station, but as a favor to his good friend Sam, he was the first to play Elvis's That's All Right. So this is what you would have heard here in Memphis, Tennessee, July 7, 1954.
Oh, yes, look at people so Phillips. Let's bring the hottest cotton-picking thing to cuts a real hot blue coming through WHBQ in Hotel Tisca on the magazine floor. Is that right, Diz? That's right. Party call Sam Putney. I gotta call Sam, Diz. Ah, Pete Pick. How you getting along there, Ern? Tennessee Ern. How you along, buddy? Pretty good, Putney. Get you a wheelbarrow load of mad hogs, run them through the front door and tell them Phillips sent you from it. Hot and blue. Telling you, I got a new song we're gonna play here. They're gonna cut loose this new song.
Dewey did say his phones didn't stop ringing. Kids all over the city of Memphis were finding phones, pulling their cars over, finding pay phones just to call in WHBQ and request That's All Right. They were going crazy over that song. So Dewey just kept playing it over and over and over again. He said he played it 14 more times that night. That was pretty much his entire set, because the show was only 3 hours long. So Sam realizes he has a hit with Elvis Presley, takes him next door to Taylor's Restaurant, which is the gift shop today, and that was where Elvis signed a 3-year contract for Sun Records. So he ended up staying in here on this X for a little while. About a year and a half, actually. In that amount of time, Elvis recorded 10 songs for Sun. His first single was That's Alright. But in November 1955, Sam went on and sold Elvis's contract to RCA for $35,000, which does sound like a horrible idea. But Sam and Elvis both knew Elvis could only go so far with Sun Records. Sun was always an independent record label. Sam was spending all of his money, his time promoting Elvis. He was turning down offers from all the majors, but by November of '55, Sam was flat broke. He was risking losing the studio and his label. And so, kind of at the right place, right time, RCA made another offer. $35,000. Final offer for Elvis's contract. $35,000 for one recording artist in 1955 was unheard of. That's over $500,000 today. It's a lot of money. And Sam Phillips took it. Elvis getting signed to RCA meant he became king of rock and roll, international super rock star. Sam pays off all that debt, saves his studio, and signs up new artists. He starts promoting this guy after Elvis Presley named Carl Perkins. He was this guitar player from Jackson, Tennessee. And he was a pretty big influence on a band called the Beatles. They were pretty big. Especially George Harrison, actually. But Carl Perkins wrote and recorded the first gold record on Sun, and that was Blue Suede Shoes. Number 234. Came out January 1st, 1956, topped every single chart and sold 2.7 million copies.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes.
And of course, Sam Phillips signed up Johnny Cash right after, the Man in Black. He was a door-to-door appliance salesman in Memphis, Tennessee. He didn't really like his job a whole lot. But he heard if he hung around Sun Records, he could probably get an audition. Talk to Sam face-to-face, not just call up here. Because it worked for Elvis and it worked for Carl Perkins. Sure enough, it worked for Johnny Cash too. Him and the Tennessee Two get signed right up. They record the most hits for Sun Records. They did Cry, 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 Hey Porter, Folsom Prison Blues, Get Rhythm, Big River, Ballad of Teenage Queen. Johnny's biggest Sun single, Walk the Line. Have y'all been up to Nashville, perhaps? Yes. Nash Vegas? Town's pretty cool. Not as cool as that stuff. But up in Nashville, they have we have juke joints here in Memphis, down on Beale Street. They have Broadway, and they got all those honky tonks down there. Right off Broadway is the Ryman Auditorium. One of the most acoustically amazing rooms ever. But that's where they used to do the Grand Ole Opry radio shows. Back in the day, you're going to play the Opry. It was an honor. It was a huge deal. But drum sets were not allowed. Drums were considered too rock and roll for country music. So Sam knew they wouldn't allow him for Johnny Cash. He came up with this whole idea of a piece of paper through a guitar strip. We like to use dollar bills. Works fantastic. Now, when you hold down the strings and you strum over them, you get this sound. Kind of sounds like a snare drum. Or if you're really big into hillbilly music, it's a washboard. But that's the drum sound that we hear in Walk the Line. So since we're all kind of hanging out in the room where, rock and roll started, no big deal or nothing, let's sing some Johnny Cash on this lovely Wednesday afternoon.
On this heart of mine, I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tide to find. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Woo!
We quit the day job. Going towards Bon Jovi now that we know he's not dead. Yay! 19. Watch out, Richie. 1956. Roy Orbison got signed up to Sun Records. He was from Wink, Texas. Wherever that's at. Right outside Odessa, actually. But he got signed up. He recorded for Sun for just a little over a year. Unfortunately, none of those really big, awesome Roy Orbison songs that we know. His biggest Sun single is a dance song.
Hey baby, jump over here when you do the oogie doogie. I decide to do the oogie doogie, oogie doogie.
by 2 college students in about 15 minutes. You can obviously tell that scholars wrote that. So amazing lyrically, I had to make up some words. December 4th, 1956. The most famous picture in rock and roll history, taken in this room, the $1 Million Quartet. The neatest thing about it, all the tiles you see behind them, same ones, hanging up today. Now the guy in the middle is Carl Perkins. He was here recording Matchbox that night. Sam Phillips called in, his up-and-coming star, Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis. He was not famous yet, and so he needed some money. Sam called him in for session work. But Sam also called up Johnny Cash. He told him to stop on by the studio because Elvis Presley was in town visiting, and the paper found out about it. So it kind of became this big publicity stunt. The paper showed up, this picture's taken, next day ended up front page, and they said, that quartet could sell $1 million. So the name $1 Million Quartet stuck with it. But they hung around here for a while. I mean, it's pretty much inevitable. You get 4 musicians in one room for a few hours, we're going to have a jam session. So Sam had the mics on, he recorded everything. They had no idea. They leave that night not knowing the jam session was recorded, so it was this rumor for the longest time. The session came out in the 1980s. We do sell it today on CD if any of y'all want one in the gift shop. And I don't know if any of y'all have seen it, but it's been turned into a play called $1 Million Quartet. It started out in Chicago and New York, it's in London and Australia. It's all over the world, except Memphis. You should see it. But it's won Tonys and stuff too.
This guy lost Billy Ward and his dominoes. There's a guy out there that was done a takeover man. Don't be cruel. He tried so hard until he got much better, boy. Much better than that record of mine.
Talking about Jackie Wilson.
Oh, no, wait now. I mean, it's just he was real slender. He was a colored guy. He got up front and he said, he had a little slower than me. Started off. He said, what key did I do it in? What key did I do Don't Be Cruel in? He said, hey, you know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please the telephone.
There you see Elvis sitting at the piano but listening. You can tell it's Jerry Lee. That's that heavy left hand. The last man standing, Jerry Lee Lewis. That's what everyone calls him because he's the last one that's still alive out of everybody, which is very surprising because he's by far the craziest out of everybody. He will gladly tell you he's also partied the hardest. It's like him and Keith Richards. They just keep going. I don't know what they've done. But he still tours to this very day. Jerry Lee is 76 years old. He recorded the 2 top-selling singles for Sun Records, and both the songs came out after that jam session. But number 2, whole lot of shaking going on. Jerry Lee cut that in one take. Darn near impossible. He did it. And of course, number 1, recorded by the Killer.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I let you love all of my other fine. You came along and woo, now honey, I changed my mind. It's good stuff.
And then Jerry Lee Lewis marries his 13-year-old cousin. Happily. Right after Jerry Lee, Sam recorded Charlie Rich, the Silver Fox, before he went silver. Just a fox in that photo. He did Lonely Weekends, and that was the last song Sam released on the Sun label that came out of this group. By 1960, he was out behind us on Madison Avenue. Sam was already working out at Phillips Recording Service, and that was the studio he retired out of. 1969, Sam retired from the music business. He sold the Sun record label to a producer in Nashville, Shelby Singleton, so he moved it to Nashville, Tennessee. That's where Sun Records is at today. Sam invested the money that he got from Sun. There is a hotel chain that began in Memphis called the Holiday Inn. Sam Phillips was the founding investor for the Holiday Inn. So he had a pretty sweet retirement plan. But for about 25 years, this room sat vacant. It was rented out off and on. It was small businesses like a barbershop and a scuba gear and surf shop, because obviously there's plenty of that to do in Memphis. Can't do any of this. But in 1985, one day, Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins decided it was time to get the band back together, make a Sun reunion record. So they ended up calling themselves the Class 55. Hired legendary producer Chips Moman. They recorded it here in the studio like old times, and it drew so much press. It was a huge production. Guest artists, Ricky Nelson, John Fogerty from CCR, June Carter Cash was also on that record. So all that attention ended up catching the eye of some locals, and by 1987, these two guys from Memphis opened the studio back up for tours and recording sessions at night. So we've been Sun Studio ever since. As of 2003, we were named a National Historic Landmark. So now we ain't going anywhere. Yay! But we still record. Recently, we've had Lee Rocker in here from the Stray Cats bass player. We've also had Chris Isaac cut a bunch of songs here for the new record that just came out of his. We've also had Justin Towns Earl, Jacob Dylan, Gail Watson, John Mellencamp, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Def Leppard. We've had Ringo Starr, Bonnie Raitt, the Judds, Henry Rollins from Black Flag. We've had Beck, North Mississippi All-Stars, Matchbox 20, Maroon 5, the Walkmen, but no one as famous as a band called U2. Heard of them? They're up and coming, I hear. Just kidding. There's a picture of Bono right behind y'all. The biggest rock band that's recording here since 1988. U2 cut 3 songs for the Rattle and Hum album, and one of the songs I'm going to play for y'all, the last song for the tour, is When Love Comes to Town. The legendary duet with the legend himself, B.B. King. Sorry, it's near the end of the tour. But since B.B. King got his career started in this room in 1950, we'll end with that song today. While it's playing, if you want to look around on your own, take pictures, go right on ahead. And one thing I highly recommend, photograph with this. It's one of the original Shure 55 vocal mics that Sam used here to record with. So Elvis has sung into this microphone. And before Sam passed away in 2003, he gave us one because he wanted all y'all to come on up and take pictures with it. One of his last dying wishes. So don't disappoint Mr. Phillips. You can even lick or kiss the microphone if you really want to. Happens a lot. So go for it. I highly doubt there's any Elvis DNA left, but you know, the thought that counts. If you have any other questions, my name's Cora. I'll be out in Marion Keiser's office. Please come talk to me. And it is not required, but if you had some fun and you wanted to show it, you can also tip the tour guide. It's much appreciated, also very much accepted as well. But we appreciate y'all coming down and seeing us here today. Have a great time in Memphis. Happy holiday season. Safe travel. We'll see y'all later. Rock and roll. Here's Baby and you. One at a time now. I know. Just coffee and lots of love. Thank you so much.
Chicken skin.